Neymar walked away from millions. But why? Neymar has always been one of the most talented and talked about footballers in the world. From his rise at Santos, his legendary run with Barcelona and PSG, to his surprising move to Saudi Arabia, he has always been in the spotlight. But no one expected him to walk away from one of the most lucrative contracts in football history so soon, to return to Brazil. After all, why would anyone give up hundreds of millions of dollars? This decision shocked everyone and sparked a wave of theories. But the truth behind this shocking twist is even more unbelievable than it seems. Today we're diving deep into this story to reveal the real reasons why Neymar abandoned Saudi football and returned to Santos. Stay until the end because the behind-the-scenes details of this decision might completely change the way you see Neymar's career. Now let's break down the multi-million-dollar contract that took Neymar to Saudi Arabia, and how it all started falling apart. Keep watching because this story is about to get even more surprising. Neymar's record-breaking contract that shocked the world. Neymar surprised the world when he signed one of the most lucrative contracts in football history, joining Al-Hilal in Saudi Arabia. For many, this was seen as a financial move, securing his wealth for the rest of his life, but it also raised questions about what truly motivated his decision. After all, he was still a world-class player and had plenty of football left to play at the top level in Europe. The contract Neymar signed with Al-Hilal was simply unreal. It's estimated that the total deal was worth over €320 million for just 2 years, an amount that very few athletes in history have ever earned. Beyond the fixed salary, Neymar's contract included a series of extravagant perks. Among them, a luxurious mansion in Riyadh with a 24-hour staff at his disposal, unlimited access to a private jet whenever he wanted to travel, a fleet of luxury cars, multi-million euro bonuses for victories, even an extra payment for every social media post promoting Saudi Arabia. Seemed like a dream come true. A player who had already won everything in European football was now securing his fortune in a country willing to pay any price to bring the biggest names in the sport to its growing league. The Saudi project was clear: turn their domestic league into one of the most relevant in the world, mirroring what happened with Major League Soccer in the United States when they signed David Beckham and, more recently, Lionel Messi. At first, everything pointed to Neymar being the centerpiece of this new project. With Cristiano Ronaldo already established at Al Nassr and other stars like Karim Benzema and Sadio Mane also joining Saudi football, Neymar's arrival took the league's status to an entirely different level. But there was a problem. Unlike other players who moved to Saudi Arabia at the end of their careers, Neymar still had a lot to offer in European football. He could have easily continued playing for elite clubs, competing in the Champions League and chasing international titles. So, what really made Neymar accept this offer? The real factors behind Neymar's move to Saudi Arabia. Behind the scenes, several factors influenced this decision. Neymar had come off exhausting years at Paris Saint-Germain, where despite being one of the most talented players on the team, he was never fully embraced by the club. His time at PSG was marked by constant injuries, off-field controversies, and a complicated relationship with some of the fans. When Messi and Mbappe took over as the team's main stars, Neymar started to lose his place, and the club's board no longer saw him as a key piece in their project. PSG had already tried to sell Neymar in previous transfer windows, but his high salary and the club's price demands made it difficult for any European team to afford him. Clubs like Chelsea and Barcelona showed interest, but negotiations never progressed far enough. When Al-Hilal's offer arrived, PSG saw it as the perfect opportunity to offload Neymar and reduce their massive wage bill. Neymar, on the other hand, saw it as a chance for a fresh start in a new environment, where he would be the undisputed star and face less pressure than at Europe's biggest clubs. But this decision was made too quickly. Neither Neymar nor his management team had enough time to fully evaluate the details of his adaptation to the new league, the playing style, and most importantly, his own physical condition. Even though he was still one of the most skilled players in the world, Neymar no longer had the same conditioning as before. Just weeks after arriving at Al-Hilal, the first signs appeared that things weren't going as expected. The expectations were massive, and Neymar was treated as the biggest star in the league. But before he could even showcase his full talent, the worst possible news arrived. During a World Cup qualifier match, Neymar suffered a serious knee injury. The diagnosis was devastating: a torn anterior cruciate ligament (ACL) and meniscus damage requiring surgery and a long recovery period. This was an unexpected turning point in Neymar's journey in Saudi football. Al-Hilal's most expensive signing in history would now be out for months, unable to justify the club's massive investment. But the injury did more than just sideline Neymar. It raised serious questions about his future. He had already dealt with several serious injuries throughout his career, and each recovery seemed more complicated than the last. The pressure on him increased, and behind the scenes, doubts started to emerge about his real motivation to continue in the Saudi project. The turning point, considering a return to Brazil. As Neymar recovered, something started to shift behind the scenes. For the first time, he began seriously considering the possibility of returning to Brazil. An idea that once seemed impossible now started to make sense. At Santos, the club where he began his career, Neymar would have a comfortable environment to recover and return to the pitch without the same level of pressure he would face in Europe or the Middle East. Rumors of a possible return to Santos started to intensify, and fans were ecstatic at the thought of seeing their idol back. But what was really behind this decision? Was it frustration with the Saudi league? Was it the desire to be closer to family and friends? Or had Neymar simply lost interest in competing at the highest level in European football? Why did Neymar walk away from a $1 million contract? The fact is that his departure from Saudi Arabia and his return to Santos were shocking, and many questions remain unanswered. Did Neymar leave only because of his injury and recovery process? Or was there something much bigger happening behind the scenes? Neymar has always been unpredictable, on and off the pitch. But no one expected that so soon after signing one of the most lucrative contracts in football history, he would walk away from that fortune to return to Brazil. His move to Saudi Arabia, which was supposed to mark a new chapter in his career, instead became one of the most turbulent moments of his professional life. But what really happened behind the scenes? What made Neymar give up hundreds of millions of dollars and return to Santos? His serious injury shortly after joining Al-Hilal was one of the key factors in his departure, but it wasn't the only one. Behind the scenes, Neymar's dissatisfaction with his new reality started long before his injury. Saudi football was rapidly growing, with massive signings and an infrastructure that seemed perfect for football superstars. But there was something players who accepted these offers didn't fully consider: the massive cultural differences and the impact it would have on their daily lives. The reality Neymar didn't expect. Neymar has always been a media sensation, used to living in major European cities, surrounded by friends, parties, and a lifestyle of luxury and freedom. Despite the financial benefits and the elite status he gained in Saudi Arabia, his daily reality was very different from what he was used to. The lifestyle, the strict rules, the lack of a social environment similar to Paris or Barcelona. All of these began to take a toll on him. Unlike cities like London or Madrid, where players can live more privately, in Riyadh, Neymar was constantly monitored and didn't have the same freedom he always valued. The level of football was another big problem. There was another major issue: the quality of football. When Neymar signed with Al-Hilal, he knew he wouldn't face the same level of competition as in Europe, but he didn't expect the gap to be so massive. The Saudi league was still developing, and even with big-name signings, the intensity of the matches was far below what he was accustomed to. For an athlete who still wanted to shine in major international tournaments, this directly impacted his motivation. Neymar realized he might have made the wrong decision. While recovering from his serious injury, Neymar began to question whether he had made the right choice by moving to Saudi Arabia. But how could he get out of such a massive contract without damaging his image or creating conflict with a club that had invested hundreds of millions in him? The secret talks behind the scenes. Behind closed doors, discussions began about a possible mutual termination. Al-Hilal wanted to recoup some of their investment, and Neymar knew that if he left without a clear plan, he could lose credibility in the football market. That's when the idea of Santos came up. Why Santos? Santos has always been special to Neymar. It was the club where he started his career. It was where he won his first titles. It was where he became a national idol. 4 years, Santos fans dreamed of his return, but it always seemed impossible. However, with Neymar re-evaluating his future and searching for a more comfortable environment to recover, Santos became the most viable option. Planning the comeback. The return had to be carefully planned. Neymar knew that returning to Santos would have a massive impact on Brazilian football. He would become the biggest name in the country again. He would attract major sponsors. He could use this move to rebuild his personal brand. But there was one big problem. How could he convince Al-Hilal to let him go without facing huge financial penalties? The intense negotiations. Negotiations were tense. Al-Hilal still wanted Neymar to honor his contract, but as they realized he was no longer fully committed to the project, they started considering a contract termination as a viable option. As the relationship between Neymar and Al-Hilal's management cooled, his agents began working behind the scenes to pave the way for his return to Brazil. What's next for Neymar? With his path almost clear for a Santos comeback, Neymar began planning his new phase in Brazilian football. But one big question remains: is this return a fresh start, or does it signal that Neymar no longer has the ambition to compete at the top of world football? Is he coming back to prepare for a peaceful farewell from football? Or is this just a stepping stone before making another move back to European football? Only time will tell. Neymar's exit from Saudi Arabia wasn't just about football. What's clear is that his departure from Saudi Arabia and return to Santos was not just a sporting decision. There was a carefully planned strategy to ensure his image wasn't damaged and that he left as someone making a strategic move, rather than a player who failed in the Saudi project. Now, the big question is, can Neymar still reclaim his place among the world's best, or is this return to Santos the beginning of his final chapter in football? That answer depends on the decisions he makes from now on, both on and off the pitch. In the next section, we'll analyze the impact of this move on his career and what we can expect from Neymar's future. Clapperboard, before we continue, don't miss the next video on your screen. It has another incredible story you won't want to miss. What does Neymar's return to Santos really mean for his career? Neymar's return to Santos shocked the football world, but the big question now is, will this move help him regain his status among the world's best? Or is it the first step toward the end of his career at the highest level? This doubt exists because Neymar has always been a player who divides opinions. His talent is undeniable, but his career has been marked by controversies, injuries, and unpredictable decisions. Some see his return to Santos as a fresh start. Others believe it's a step backward, signaling that he may never compete at the top level again. But what's the truth? First, we need to analyze what this decision means in the global football landscape. Many Brazilian legends returned home to finish their careers, players like Ronaldo Nazario, Adriano, and Ronaldinho Gaucho. For some, this return was positive, allowing them to end their careers with dignity and victories. For others, it marked their definitive decline. Is Neymar using Santos as a stepping stone? If his goal is to recover and return to European football soon, this move could be his last chance to prepare for one final major opportunity abroad. But there's a problem: time is no longer on Neymar's side. He's already 32 years old. His injury history is concerning. Each season, his body requires more recovery time and less training intensity. If he really wants to return to the top, he will have to do something he has never consistently done before: take care of his body like Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. Modern football demands total commitment, and Neymar has never been known for his discipline off the pitch. Does Neymar still have the motivation to compete? For years, Neymar seemed more focused on individual recognition than winning major titles. He always dreamed of winning the Ballon d'Or, but that goal has slipped further away. His move to Saudi football already showed that his priority wasn't to stay among the world's best, but rather to secure financial stability and a luxurious lifestyle. Now, with his return to Santos, many are asking, does Neymar still have the hunger to compete at the highest level? Or is he just settling into the final years of his career more comfortably? What this move means for Santos. This return isn't just about Neymar's future, it could also change Santos' fate. The club has been struggling in recent years with no major titles and serious financial problems. Bringing Neymar back could revitalize the club, attracting new sponsors and increasing Santos' international exposure. But this will only be positive if Neymar is truly committed to playing, and not just using his return as a temporary media spectacle. How Neymar handles this moment will define his legacy. What Neymar does next will determine how he will be remembered in football. If he commits, focuses on his physical recovery and proves his ambition, he could rebuild his reputation and even earn one last chance at a major European club. But if his return to Santos is just a way to settle down, avoid bigger challenges, and enjoy a more comfortable lifestyle, his career could be on a permanent decline. One thing is certain: Neymar has never followed the traditional path of football legends. His decisions have always been unexpected, sometimes going against his own career interests. But no matter what happens, one thing is clear: the entire world will be watching his next move. And you? Do you think Neymar can still reclaim his place among the world's best? Or is his return to Santos the beginning of the end? If you want to understand how great minds overcome challenges and turn any situation to their advantage, click the link in the pinned comment and discover a method that could change your perspective on success and strategy.